Carlos with Water Buffalo.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Oldschoolmatt here, back with another Water Buffalo Training Method podcast. Today we're joined by our guest, Carlos Pleitz. Carlos is a friend of ours. He's been training with us for a little while now, a good friend of mine. And, we just started to get together and we decided why not sit down and do a sit-down podcast where we talk about his life, bodybuilding, and other things entrepreneurship-wise. So, without further ado, here's Carlos.
What's up, guys? How's it going, man? So we're just going to be talking about, like Matt said, bodybuilding stuff, random topics here and there, and that's about it, Let's get started.
So, Carlos, tell me a little bit about yourself and, what you do on a daily basis, where you work, and, a little bit about what Carlos does. Silos Fit, a.k.a. on Instagram.
Well, dude, basically I'm a college student, and then I'm a server at Meat Market right now, and I like to work out. The one thing I like about working out is, I go to the gym, and it's lately I've been going early in the morning because it's I get 2 hours done, and it's like a meditation in a way for myself as well, and it gets my day started early. So it's it's like a mental therapy in a way.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we actually met, just through the gym, and that's a beautiful thing about going to the gym is that you can meet cool ass dope people. You don't even have to know them. You can kind of just interact with them on a smaller basis, and then over time you get to know them just by being in the same place together. And I go to his gym sometimes, which would be like LA Fitness Lantana, and we just know each other, through the get around. But something that kind of brought us closer together was bodybuilding, and Carlos is actually an amateur bodybuilder trying to get to that pro level. So what kind of got you? Because obviously working out is a lot different from bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So obviously when you're working out, and then once you take that next step to take that bodybuilding lifestyle, it's a really big jump, and it's a really big shock at first. All the eating, all the training longer, harder, sleeping, and supplements and whatnot. So what kind of got you into bodybuilding?
Dude, so the one thing that got me into bodybuilding was alright, so as I was growing up, I was always a little fat kid, a little chunky boy. So, it's as soon as I got into the whole working out back in high school when I was at 16, which was my sophomore year of high school, it's I started getting into it. And then after that, it's after I graduated high school, I was you know what, let me take it a little bit more further. I met this guy named Sam. He was my coach at one point. Really cool guy, genuine. I told him, I'm hey dude, I'm gonna do a bodybuilding show. And then, he guided me through it. He gave me a diet and everything. I'm not gonna lie, the first show I did was tough. I did it naturally, and it was no gear at all other than creatine, your basic supplements.
Yeah.
And dude, mentally, it takes a toll on me.
Yeah.
Mentally,
sure.
it does. It's one thing I was starting to find out was me smoking marijuana was one thing that would calm my mind down. It's it would give you a little setback and everything. It'll be okay. Now, it's when it came to working out on those days during prep, it's you don't want to talk to nobody.
Yeah,
you just want to be in and out, and it's that's it. It's it got to that. It got literally towards the end of the show. It got to the point where I didn't want to work out with my coach at the time, and it's I was like, dude, let me just find this alone right now.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I've never done a show before. I've gotten pretty lean and I've done some pretty crazy diets, but I've never been super show shredded. And I know it's a whole different monster to get to that level, especially when you're not naturally lean. If you were born kind of naturally chubbier, it's kind of hard to get down there. So what was do you remember what diet you were on? How old were you, by the way?
Dude, when I did that first show, I was about 21.
21?
Yeah,
okay,
21.
So you were in the middle of college.
Yeah, still in the middle of college. Everything, and dude, basically your diet literally consists of eggs, oatmeal in the morning,
yeah,
and then throughout the day you're literally eating after the gym. My diet would consist of 8 ounces of meat, and then anywhere from 200 grams to 300 grams of white rice, and then of course 4 ounces of veggies.
Yeah.
You always needed the fiber and everything. But as you progress, everything gets deloaded, and then afterwards it'll be just chicken and rice and broccoli.
Gotcha.
That's mainly the all meals.
Did you so he didn't really go to low carbs or anything like that? It was mostly...
No. As you get through the weeks, as you progress, as we get closer, it's you start depleting slowly. Yeah. So it's at first you started off with probably 200 grams of white rice for every meal, right? Which was 3 meals after breakfast. And basically, dude, it's like I felt good in the beginning, and it's like once it got to like week 6, he was like, all right, we're going to deload it. We're going to do 150 grams, and it's like, and then your last meal is only going to be protein and veggies, and that's it. And then I was like, really? And it's like, you know, as you progress down and start depleting all your foods and everything, dude, you get to a point sometimes where you get to 0 carbs at all, and all you're eating is like protein, veggies, and maybe some sort of fat.
I kind of enjoy doing like low carb, just like I don't know. I'm weird when it comes to that. I do it because I don't really like to eat that much. Some people enjoy eating, fucking hate eating. But like when I do low carb, I feel like, I mean, obviously it's different when you're doing how many minutes of cardio were you doing? Like,
dude, back then it was like it started off with 30 minutes of cardio every day, and I would work out 6 times a week.
Yeah.
You know, and then even on my day off, I would still have to go do cardio. So it was like 7 days a week cardio and everything. And it's like it starts off at 30 minutes, and after that, you know, you go on to 45, 60, and eventually
so you're pushing like
yeah. It all depends how you want to get, how fast you want to get lean and everything, and how your coach is seeing you at that time too.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's different from doing like low carbs, and then once you start throwing in like a lot of cardio, then it starts getting really draining. Because I can train doing low carbs pretty easily, but then once you throw in that 45 hour of cardio, that's when it starts getting really, really brutal. And like, yeah, and I don't have any idea. I mean, I've got, like I said, I've gone like lean before, and that was probably like 2 or 3 years ago, but I've never gotten to the show level. So like compared to the first show, compared to like how many shows have you done? You
Dude, I done 2.
2. So like compare that first show to the second show. Like how was that, the whole process? Because you had a different coach at the second show, right?
Yeah, for the second show, you know, I had this guy named Tuna Sauce called Fam.
Yeah.
Basically, he's still my coach right now. What he does is he coaches me through my diet and supplement wise as well. So, you know, for the second show, I did get prepared because my first show, my coach did ask me at the time, he's like, do you want to take gear or not?
Yeah.
And then he's like, since it's your first show, I wouldn't recommend you getting on gear because you don't know if you want to keep on doing it or not, right?
Yeah.
So for my second show, I got in contact with Tuna Sauce, really cool guy, you know, down to earth, and then, you know, he asked me as well, he's like, dude, how far are you willing to take gear, right? And that's the cool thing. And it's like, I told him, you know, I'm willing to take it as safely as I can, but not to the full extreme level, like not HGH level, none of that right now. You know, because you gotta realize I'm still young.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, you know, anything you take right now is going to affect you in the future.
Definitely.
You know, and it's mentally, I was more prepared for the second show than the first show.
Gotcha.
Mentally.
But the process was, like the diet and everything was probably somewhat similar, right?
It wasn't. It was
No,
totally
it was
different.
different. Okay.
Yeah, it was totally different. The diet was totally different with Tuna. Since he's a doctor, he sees what works more with your body and what doesn't.
Okay.
It's like he started seeing that my body doesn't react well with fats, so he started taking on certain fats that would only have me on carbs, veggies and.
So you're like a moderate or high carb, low fat, high
Yeah,
protein
basically.
diet.
Yeah, basically. So it's like the way my body gets depleted. It's like we could run a diet without any fats. And
Yeah. No, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like we were just talking about, like, I do good on low carbs and I'm like normal on low carbs, but for some reason when you do like purely protein and carbs, no fats, I feel worse actually doing, not like worse, but I feel like my energy level is actually lower. I feel like the fats kind of help me stabilize my energy levels a little bit better. And I feel like it's actually harder for me to cut out the fats than to cut out the carbs.
that's probably because your body relies on like, it's almost like a keto diet in a way,
Yeah.
I would say. Because it's like, you know, your body has had fats for such a long time that, you know, it's like having those good fats in you actually gives you the energy, and it's like your body has found a way to rely on it as well.
And fats also have like a really big role in like your body's hormone level, hormone production, stuff like that, the way you sleep and whatnot. But I guess we can go into a little bit more about that, like the preps and like what do you like and what do you don't like about doing like the whole contest prep.
So, dude, one thing I do like about doing the whole contest prep, it's like, it's a challenge that I like to see. I like to see where my mind state is at, and like, you know, just getting my mental state. It's like my inner self. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I do like about it. The only thing that I don't like about it is that, you know, when it comes to prep and all that, I do become this very serious guy.
Yeah.
And then to the point where it's like, you know, I get aggravated with just the certain little details, and you know, that's the one thing I don't like.
And both preps was like that, the first and second,
Yeah.
or did it get easier the second time?
It got easier the second time, but it's like, you know, I just learned to like, you know, mind my own business, do my own thing, and it's like if somebody pissed me off, it's like, you know what, just let him get this.
Yeah.
Like, let him go. Like, don't worry about it. And then I'll mind my own business. But it's like I said, dude, it's a good and bad thing, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like that. I got you.
Yeah.
So going into that, we'll compare like the first show versus the second show. How did like, obviously prep is hard, that's hard, but like actually going on stage is hard too. Like for the first time, it's probably really like, scary. I know because I've helped like 2 or 3 kids do their first show. And one of my close friends, I did his first show with him too. I helped him a little bit, but like just being there with him doing his first show, I can tell he was really nervous.
Yeah, dude.
How was that for you?
It's like you get nervous, you know, and all that, and the proper thing is like, you know, you're trying to get at your peak as well.
Yeah,
so it's like you're trying to carb up as well, but you're not trying to look flat in front of the audience, you know, or in front of the judges, I should say. You know, and it's at first, dude, you do get nervous, you do get like, you know, you get cramps, but you're also water depleted. You haven't had any water, and it's like, dude, you're getting these massive cramps like out of nowhere to the point where it's like, you know, some people actually can go to the hospital for getting
Yeah,
cramps,
definitely.
you know what I mean? And it's like, but other than that, dude, it's amazing. You get to meet people out there, and at the end of the day, it's like, you know, yeah, it's a competition. You're competing with everyone else, but at the end of the day, everyone's friends.
Yeah,
in
for
this
sure.
community, it's like, dude, we're all in this
small,
together. Who cares who wins and all that? The important thing is we're having fun. And you know, at the end of the day, it's dude, you know, who cares if you lost or if you won? You know?
Yeah, for sure. You did bodybuilding your first show, right?
Yeah, the first show I did do bodybuilding.
So you did like a whole posing routine and stuff like that too, or?
Yep, we had posing routines and everything. Posing routines like would consist of 1 hour once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, you would get posing outside and everything. It's like before you knew it, I had a tan.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's like working out as well because you know you gotta learn how to hold your breath, you gotta learn how to pose upright and everything. And it's
When you jumped on stage for the first time, like, were you nervous? Because that's what happened to one of my boys who jumped on stage when his first time going on stage. He was good at posing like in a mirror, but then when you get on stage in front of like not a lot of people, but there's people there, you get nervous,
like shaky and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first one I got shaky and everything, and it was like, dude, what's wrong? And it's like you start feeling like these little nerves and everything, and you're like, oh, this is good.
How was that compared to the second time you felt a little bit more comfortable?
Dude, the second time I felt a little bit more comfortable, just because like the body had changed a little bit, and it's like, all right, you know, the first show I did it already, I conquered that, and it's like, you know how you always have, like, I don't know if you ever took speech in college.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever, like the first speech you ever had, everyone was always nervous for that
for
speech.
sure.
And then it's like after you did the second one and third one, it's like it became easier and easier.
Yeah.
That's how the second show felt.
It's like anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's still nerve-wracking because you're going up there and you did bodybuilding the second one too, right?
Yeah, I did bodybuilding and then I also did classic physique.
Okay, so that's even But so you had 2 runs at that show, so that's probably made it a little bit better too because that second time on stage you probably felt a little bit more comfortable because you had just gone on before. Or did you do classic first and bodybuilding?
So for the Ruby show, it was bodybuilding first, then after that I had to go switch trunks and get into classic.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it was good. You know, I actually like classic physique a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you also got to realize you got to keep the time weights for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends on like how you see things and like the way your body looks. I feel like everyone's got their weaknesses and their strong points, especially like with something like classic physique or bodybuilding where you can show like your legs. Like a lot of stockier guys, like myself and you, are a little bit more stocky in the sense, but we have good legs, and a lot of people in classic physique, they don't have good legs because they have like the more elongated shape. It's just I feel like the bodybuilding like that is like learning how to hit on your weaknesses like super tough, super hard, and knowing where your strengths are at. It's all within like it's an art basically. It's all within the posing and whatnot. There's thousands of things you can get into about that. But what's your favorite poses? What's your favorite like shots to hit, and like how do you kind of articulate that?
Dude, one of my favorite shots to hit is a back double bicep, and then abs and thighs.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Those are the 2 favorite ones I like. And then, dude, my coach, he personally likes it when I do most muscular.
Mm-hmm.
Just because for most muscular, you got everything popping out. You got your shoulders, you got biceps, you got your quads flexing. You know, abs are showing, and it's like you're showing everything from the front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, you know, that's his personal choice. You know, what he likes from it. That, like I said, I like a back double bicep and abs and thighs. But you know, going back to what you said about the whole classic physique and everything, you know, I do believe in, you know, classic physique came in as a how do you say, a competition in between physique and bodybuilding. Yeah, because you know how, you know, for physique you can't be too big.
Yeah.
And it's like it starts looking bad, where to the point you have to go to the bodybuilding or open division.
Gives like a middle ground for people. Like that.
Exactly. And you know, one thing I started seeing as soon as they opened up classic physique, it's like it got bigger. Bigger.
Right away.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, there are some people that compete in classic physique. They just want to keep on getting bigger, so they just move on to open. Yeah.
It's like a stepping stone. So, like Carlos was talking about, he was talking about classic physique being like a stepping stone for people that are in between physique and bodybuilding. Real quick, Carlos, do you like the poses that they have with classic physique? Because I know that they don't do all the poses, and like a lot of people, they kind of get to show they don't get to show their full body in the sense that like in bodybuilding, like you obviously have your 8 mandatory poses, and you can do poses that kind of fit you better, and obviously you have to do all of them, but you can kind of graduate towards poses that make you look better, hold those longer, especially when you're doing like a routine. What do you think about like the 5 poses that are in classic? Would you think that it'd be better if they just let you guys do everything, or do you like how it is?
Dude, honestly, I think it would be better if they let you do everything.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, you're able to, how do you say, stimulate your weakness?
Yeah, like show you like accentuate your strengths and like kind of hide your weaknesses.
Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, that's the one thing I like about bodybuilding, just because of the 8 poses they get to do versus the 5 that you only get to do in classic. And it's like, you know, nowadays it's like most people are looking at like a vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, the way you do your vacuum, the way you have your abs and everything, and it's like, you know, they just look at like, how do you say, the hourglass in a way?
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it is. You know, basically classic physique now, it's bodybuilding back in the golden era.
80s, 70s.
Yeah, like 80s, 70s. And you know, bodybuilding started changing ever since the way it's competed. You know, as soon as that guy stepped on stage, bodybuilding started getting bigger. Yeah.
I like the idea of doing all the poses in classic because, like you said, like a lot of the guys, they don't have like a perfect vacuum or perfect, you know, abs, which is important for classic, but it's not everything in my opinion. I think that guys like even Arnold, he had like a good vacuum, but he never had really good abs. You know, Arnold was as somebody who had like he just had more of a flow to his body. Exactly. Like Franco Columbu, he had nice abs, but he was blocky. He was a shorter guy, but he hit, you know, like his front lat spread or his most muscular, even though they weren't like, they're not anywhere close to what nowadays bodybuilding is, but they're still considered classic. Just the way that they hit the poses from the side, the angles that they're doing, in my opinion, like kind of shows what a classic body, because you can tell the difference between Franco Columbu hitting the most muscular and Ronnie Coleman hitting the most muscular. It's like night and day. I mean, they're both great, but you can tell that Franco Columbu has more of that streamlined classic physique sort of figure. And I think it's important that, I hope so in the future, that they add those poses towards that category, because it'll allow guys like you and other people that are like even the front lat spread is a pretty, I think that's like a pose that shows off people's physique incredible, but it's not part of the poses.
Yeah.
So I think it'll give more opportunity for people to like kind of jump into that category too, that were kind of like, I'm only doing bodybuilding just because it fits my physique better, because I can hit poses that I like better. But once they incorporate all those mandatories, I think that it'll be great.
I mean, you're right about that. You know, that's the one thing I have always liked about open bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, the poses and everything, and you know how you said we're stocky guys.
Yeah.
You know, last year I decided to do classic physique, just to get my feet wet. You know, and just to see what it's like. You know, and what's the difference between both of them. And you know, like I said, I do prefer open bodybuilding. And dude, you know, the only thing is that nowadays in the modern world, it's, you know, open bodybuilding, you gotta be a lot bigger, a lot. You gotta, you know, put on some massive size. You could be this person weighing 175, but you gotta look like you're 200. You know, and it's crazy how you have to like just grow your body and grow it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna leeway into that too. Like you say you want to do open bodybuilding, but I feel like open bodybuilding nowadays, because one of your goals, or maybe it's not your like number one priority, but you would like to be a pro maybe one day, compete at the pro level, at least get the pro card. And to be a pro, I feel like nowadays for open bodybuilding, you have to be at least 220 to 225. it doesn't matter how tall or short
No,
you are.
it doesn't.
That's like the minimum.
Dude, and it's like, it's crazy, you know, let's not go too far, you know.
Yeah.
We got a local here in Boca, you know, Flex Lewis.
Yeah.
Think about it, off season, he's weighing around 240 right now, 250.
Yeah.
And that's because he's going into open bodybuilding. But when he was doing 212, he was weighing 225,
Yeah.
230, you know.
Yeah, no, I think that Classic is going to be a good. I think that they should raise the weight because, like, once you get into the pros, do they make you weigh a certain weight for Classic in the amateur?
Yeah, dude. So basically, for classic, they make you weigh a certain weight based on your height as
Yeah.
well. Now, for open bodybuilding, they don't do
Yeah,
height;
yeah.
they just do weight.
Weight
It's-
class, yeah.
that's
So
it.
what did you have to weigh for your?
So I weighed in 174, which is middleweight for both.
Okay.
So that was my main goal. I was like, all right, I gotta weigh at least 174.
But when you get to like the pros, I'm not sure what the exact like numbers are, but you see guys like, you know, Brian Ansley, George Peterson. Those guys are like in off season they're like 212, 205, and they have to go down. Not even off season, they have to shrink down to like 187,
190,
Yeah.
yeah. 195,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I think they should definitely raise the weight classes a little bit because Franco Colombo was, you know, he was like I think it was 180 something, 185. But I think now for his height, he's like 5'4". For his height, he'd probably have to be like 168. I think is what it is for
160, yeah.
Or 165.
164.4, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
something like that. So it goes like by quarters or 3/4.
like super low. And I think that if they were to raise the weights in those classes, people wouldn't get bigger, but it just allow people to like kind of fill out more. Because that's like a thing I've seen, especially in the pros, is that like they look kind of flat sometimes because they have to really suck down to get to that weight based off their height. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I don't know, dude. Like you said, you know, raising the weight and everything. Yes and no, I can agree with you. But at the same time, you know, I want to disagree with you just because of the fact it goes back to like, you know, it's like if you're gonna be raising the weight, then what about open bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be raising the weight for that too? And it's like, you know, you got huge guys, and it's like, in that case, if you're raising the weight, or if you want to be bigger for classic physique, you should just move on to
it's 212.
yeah, 212 for body.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I see it in my eyes. Just because, you know, you gotta realize it's called classic physique for a reason. You're doing poses from old school.
Yeah.
You're maintaining a frame from an old school perspective as well. You know?
I think that based off of like, I don't really think it has to do much with weight, but more necessarily how you look. But I think that weight is a good way to keep people in that look.
No.
Without having to like, because obviously someone could be 260 and look like Cedric McMillan. He's a classic. He looks more like a classic bodybuilder. He's obviously bigger, but he's huge. I think it all depends on how you look, but I think, like you were saying, the weight classifications kind of force people to stay in that realm because it won't just be like a size competition to see who can get bigger and bigger. So I think I agree with you on that. I think that maybe they should try to allow a little bit more leniency towards the heights because I think, and they already added like certain weights when they first started, but maybe adding like 2 or 3 more pounds or 4 more pounds is like a big difference. I'm sure you know that too. Like 2 or 3 pounds could be the difference of like looking incredible or looking super flat, super like, you know.
And it is, dude. It is a big difference. You know?
Yeah.
That's like, you know, just the same thing. You weigh yourself the day before your actual show.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you're coming out at 174, and then it's like as soon as you're done weighing yourself, that's when you start carbing up.
Yeah.
So the moment you start carbing up, you're going up in weight.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're trying to maintain a little bit more of that weight for the next day and not come out flat.
Yeah. Did you weigh in the day before or the day after?
No, the day before.
Okay.
Every show is usually the day before.
Yeah.
You know, just because it gives you time to, you know, overnight just carb up.
Yeah. The amateur shows are always a day before, you said?
Yeah, always a day before.
So it's a little bit, I feel like, because I think some of the pro shows, they do like 2 days.
2 days in
yeah.
advance, yeah.
So I feel like that gives you a little bit more opportunity to like really peak properly. It's kind of hard to peak, I feel like in one day, but it's possible because you've done it before.
Yeah, but I think they do it 2 days in advance just because they have prejudging one day, and then they have the actual show the next day. So
And you guys have prejudging in the same show.
Yeah, all on the same day, you know. So I think that's why they get a little bit more leverage, which is nice for them.
And they're pros too, obviously. They want them to like have enough time to
get
their
ready
best,
to look their best, like you said, yeah.
Did both shows when you did your peak week or you did like the carving up, did you like peak properly or did you fuck up?
No, I peaked properly.
Okay,
I peaked properly.
So you came out like on point?
Yeah, I came on point and everything, you know. I came on more on point with tuna sauce
Yeah.
than I did with my previous show. But then again, I can't compare it too much because one was naturally and one was enhanced.
Gotcha. Now, when you did it, real quick sidetrack, when you did your first show, did you use like diuretics the first time and the second time?
Yeah. You want to use diuretics because the whole thing is you want to pee as much as you can.
Yeah,
You want to get as much water out of you as you can because you also got to realize, dude, water weight just holds details in everything.
For sure. Yeah, it could be the difference of like looking incredible or literally looking like shit. Not like shit, but like
Yeah, like certain details. Like let's say, for instance, my body depletes faster from the upper versus the bottom.
Lower,
versus the lower. So it's like, dude, as you deplete water and everything, it's like, all right, you start seeing, okay, I'm looking leaner and leaner. And it's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool process. I've seen it happen with my own eyes.
Yeah.
I've seen it online.
The thing that sucks is like you're going to the bathroom every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Every 30 minutes.
Yeah, so that must be. I've heard the night before is like shitty with sleep. Like you can't sleep during it. I'm like, well, it's nerves first of all, and then second of all, having to pee every whatever hour or whatever it is.
Yeah, dude, you have no idea. So for my first show, the night of, I really didn't even sleep. It was like I was cramping up every 2 hours too.
Really?
So it's like every 2 hours. It's like I'll take a nap and then I'll get woken up again. All right, time to eat.
Yeah.
And that's how it would be. And then now for the second show, I will tell you what. Tuna told me, all right, go have a burger and have some fries.
Yeah.
And then.
Because you're not drinking anything.
No, exactly. And then he just told me to have 2 bottles of, no, actually 1 bottle of red wine.
Yeah.
A little bottle.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Dehydrates you.
Dehydrates you. Yeah, exactly. So I went ahead and did that, and then I will tell you what, I probably knocked out the second time.
It dehydrates you and it relaxes you. A lot of the pro bodybuilders in the 90s actually did shots of vodka.
Yeah.
Like
That's like Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah,
Ronnie Coleman
Coleman
did
did
a big pizza.
Yeah.
And then did like 5 shots of vodka, and then the next day he woke up.
Because if you think about it, you're not drinking anything. So if you're eating a shit ton of food, like all that sodium and those carbs are just gonna go straight into your, not straight. They're mostly it's gonna go into your muscle. It's just sort of muscle like it's just gonna help you look fuller, especially the day of. Like when I was helping Gucci, I was helping him do his show. He didn't really water deplete super heavy. He didn't take a diuretic either. I don't know why he didn't because I guess the show before he took one, he didn't like the way it made him feel, so he did try to do more like natural, sort of like natural diuretics. But
you also got to realize, the diuretic helps you drink a lot more water.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Dry throat.
Did you take a natural diuretic, or did you take a Lasix or something like that?
Dude, all I remember is Tuna told me to pick up this one diuretic called starts with a D.
Was it from the pharmacy or was it from like a?
No, it was from a nutrition store.
Okay.
Nutrition store. Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it started with a D as well.
Okay. No, I think Brandon took some sort of like natural, not like a true diuretic, it's just something to help you lose water weight. But when you take like a real diuretic, at that point, like you said, once you already peed out all the water, it's not, you can basically eat whatever you want, other than like anything that has water in it because it's gonna make you hold more water. But if you're eating like, that's what the whole point of carving up, and that's why people they'll eat like pizza and shit like that on show day. And I even had someone ask me one time when I was helping this kid, they're like, why are you making him eat like garbage? I'm like, because he hasn't drinking water in like a day. He's taking really small sips, so like whatever water he drinks is not gonna make him look bloated or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just gonna make him look better.
Exactly, that's the same thing. Like Tuna told me to have like the day of the show, like 2 hours before the show, he's like, go to IHOP, have pancakes, have steak, and eggs. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, the pancakes, like, what does it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, but the only thing is, you're really not having anything else other than black coffee.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like bare minimum, like 4 ounces of black coffee.
Anything to keep that water, because once you start introducing water, you don't want to like. Were you sipping on water too?
No.
You had no water
at all, dude.
So what I've found, or I haven't tested this because I don't coach like a lot of clients, but I've like heard this and I've seen it. A lot of the people that end up not drinking water at all, like zero water, sometimes they end up looking flat because they need a little bit of that water, but I guess you're getting that in the coffee, so you're having a little bit of water in that coffee.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
So that'll help, kind of push everything into the muscles properly. But I've heard that when people just completely do no liquids at all, it's a little bit harder sometimes because they can't get that stuff, that food and stuff to be put into the muscle. It's just completely flat.
And you know what? You're right about that. You know what else I also noticed? There's this one guy that his name is Steve, right? Tempesky. He competed at the same show I did, right? The Ruby show. I saw him literally eating salt, like dried up salt and honey.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and I'll tell you what, it dried him up and it filled him up as well at the same time. It's like you said, it goes with liquid as well. It's like honey is liquid.
Yeah.
With sugar. I'm sure with the sugar spiking up your insulin levels, and it's, you know.
There's a lot of different ways to do it, but like that's a cool thing about bodybuilding too, is like a lot of it's like not, it's obviously scientifically based, but there are so many coaches that do it so many different ways, and everybody's body is different, that it really just depends on how someone knows your body, because you can tell someone, here, this is how you carb up and this is how you do this, and they can do all that and look like shit on stage.
Exactly, you're right. That's like saying, hey, you know what, you're going to have rice cakes.
Yeah.
3 rice cakes with peanut butter, and that's it for your carb up, right? And there's other people that literally have applesauce.
Yeah.
And salt or Nutella or whatever. It's like it all works differently, you know?
Yeah.
Like it all goes back to the method of the coach.
Exactly.
How they want to.
And how the individual responds to.
Exactly.
All right, so last closing remarks on, you know, Carlos's experience with bodybuilding and whatnot, and how he sees himself in the future with the sport of bodybuilding, and maybe some tips for Carlos, for you guys to, you know, that are getting into bodybuilding, that are doing bodybuilding right now, that he might be able to give you some insight to.
Well, you know, like I said, the one thing I like about bodybuilding is I see it as a passion, a hobby, a sport, not as a career. You know, that's like, you know, back in the day, I used to play soccer and I used to love doing that, right? And it's like the moment I started lifting weights and everything, and I started getting more serious into it, it's like, you know what? I like it. I want to have it as a passion and a hobby. I don't want to make it into a career just because it, you know, it can mess you up mentally. It can mess, you know, it could do you so many bad ways, or it can do you so many good ways, you know. That unfortunately, I like to keep it as a hobby and passion, you know. You know, one big tip I can give you guys is, you know, for any show you do it with a coach. Get yourself a coach. You know, the one thing about it is it's always better to have a second pair of eyes, just because they could guide you through the right way. And, you know, dude, there's so many things out there that you're going to be doing or taking. You always want to see what somebody else can tell you. It's like, hey, you know, don't eat too much protein. It's doing this to you now, you know. Or, hey, we need to lower down your carbs.
Yeah.
Or, you know, dude, we're going to have you on, you know, protein and fats only and no carbs at all. So it's always, you know, good to have a second pair of eyes. And like I said, dude, it's getting guided the right way. It's an amazing experience because you don't feel alone at the same time. You always feel like somebody's out there with you and making sure that he's taking care of you. But you also want to find a coach that's not in it for the money. You know, you want to find somebody that's in it for like a passion, a hobby, you know, something that they do on the side where they don't really care about the money. You know, they do it mainly just because they want to help out other people. And, you know, because they did it before, they had it as a hobby or passion. And that's what you want to look for in a coach. You want to make sure you have a coach as well where you can build a friendship in the way as well.
Definitely. I think that's really important to always, and if you get into someone who coaches you, or some, it doesn't even have to be bodybuilding, but whatever, fitness, lifestyle, if you want to get ahead and you want to be, you know, you kind of want to play catch up, even though it's, in my opinion, it's equally as important to also self-educate yourself too. A coach can always, you know, guide you in the right direction, kind of break everything down to what you need to know or what's important, and then from there you can kind of develop your own, you know, you can educate yourself on what you want to know more and whatnot.
And that's true, you know, and the cool thing is about it, it's like, you know, yeah, you can go online and look up certain information and everything, but remember, online, you're going to find all types of information, you know, you're going to find people that do things different. And then you're going to start second guessing yourself if you don't have a coach, you know, you're going to be like, oh shit, am I doing this the right way? Am I supposed to do this instead or not? You know, and that's where the coach comes into play, because he does what he firmly believes in, you know. And instead of you second guessing yourself.
And that's a really important thing too, is like sticking to a plan. Because there's a lot of ways for you to get in shape for a show. There's a lot of things you can do to get in shape for a show. Even working out, there's a lot of different ways you can get into shape, a lot of different ways you can get strong. But coach kind of makes you stick to a certain set of principles, and you can figure if those principles work for you or not. And then if you can either, kind of work with them to make sure and see if they can do something else that fits you. If that doesn't work, or you can just move on. But having that coach there, having that guidance will definitely speed up the process. It'll take, it'll push you forward by a couple years for sure in knowledge, in terms of knowledge. Obviously, you have to experience what it feels like to, work out and get it. If you're doing a show, get into shape for a show and whatnot. That only comes with experience. But having someone who's been doing it for a while, who knows, will save you a lot of time and a lot of wasted energy.
Exactly. And one thing you always want to do as well is take notes.
Yeah.
Take notes. No matter if they're giving you the knowledge and everything, always take notes. Because one day they're not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And then you're on your own or you're finding somebody else.
Yeah.
But you also want to take notes because, it's good to pass that knowledge that you get to learn and give it to someone else.
Definitely.
It's an amazing experience because then you're like, oh shit, I gained this. And, what if one of your buddies or friends, good friends, is competing?
Yeah.
You want to guide them, right?
Yeah,
You want
sure.
to be able to be like, hey dude, look, I did this, this, and this. Why don't we do the same thing? That's how your body reacts, or you can do it differently as well. But the whole point is, the way I see it is like, all right, I'm paying my coach, right? He's giving me knowledge, If I have a friend that's going to compete or something, and he asks me for some advice or something, I'm not going to charge him when I get it. I'm going to give it to him for free, It's also it's something I pay for. That, dude, at the end of the day, it's like what they say is, you gain knowledge and that knowledge becomes wisdom.
Yeah.
Eventually, you want to give that wisdom to someone else because they're going to use it as well.
And you can apply it as well.
Yeah.
And you never know when might be the time for you to, like you said, kind of pass that knowledge down, whether that be for money or not. I mean, there is no amount of money you can put on knowledge. Knowledge is, there's no.
That's true. That's true. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You can't put money on knowledge because at the end of the day, the day you die, you don't get to take a briefcase with you full of money. At the end of the day, you only take what you know.
And you leave it on to your family and whatnot. And that's, in my opinion, way more important than just, because not anybody, but money is a exchange of a lot of different things, but knowledge is an exchange of hard work and time. It's
And
important.
that's the thing, dude. And like I'm gonna go a little bit off topic for a little bit right now. It's like how you said, knowledge is everything, right? And it's true. But some people think of it as like, oh shit, money buys me this, buys me that.
Yeah.
Let me spend more time with money instead of spending more time with knowledge. You also gotta realize, with knowledge, money comes.
Yeah, for sure. For anything.
It comes eventually. Don't be a chaser for money. Be a chaser for the knowledge instead, because eventually everything comes and it works its way.
Exactly. Because with unlimited amount of knowledge and just being intelligent and learning stuff, you can always find a way to flip it and make money.
Yeah,
if you learn about the stock market or whatever, you can make money on stocks. If you're good at school and you learn about school, you can tutor people.
Yeah.
If you're good at working out, you can train people.
Exactly. And that's the same thing. It's like, you picked up a new skill and, that new skill cost you some money.
Yeah.
And it's like a new skill for you, and then you can pass it on.
Yeah.
And then you start doing your own thing with it as
Yeah.
well. That's one thing I do like about me, is that, once I pick up a new skill, it's like, I want to accomplish that skill.
Yeah.
I want to perfect it, and then I want to go on and accomplish something
And you can
else.
always keep it in your belt.
Yeah.
To add on to things like, if you, I was super obsessed with body, I still am. I'm always learning about bodybuilding, but now I've kind of switched gears. And obviously I read articles probably 3 or 4 times a week on new studies that come out about supplements and whatnot, but I've kind of changed my passion for fitness into turning it into a business, obviously with the business I have now.
Yeah.
So I'm learning more about the business aspect of things, and even something I'm not even comfortable with, which is like graphic design, video editing, and just things that look visually appealing, something I never think I would do.
Exactly.
So switching my knowledge base over to that rather than always trying to learn more about fitness and whatnot. Not saying that I know everything about fitness, but I've gotten to a point to where I'm comfortable with it, so I can sustain that level for a little while, switch my efforts into something else. Like you said, you're getting into whatever, investing and stuff like that based off of whatever you did before. There's always ways that you can kind of level up in another realm. And then now when you come back and you look at what you have, now you have yourself, you're at multiple levels of, let's say you're intermediate in a lot of different places, can get you, pretty far in life.
And it can, that's the whole point. It's like, don't stay here, always look up top.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as you progress, remain humble.
Yeah,
Remain
for
humble.
sure.
That's key, and people are like, thank you so much for being that person.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, that's one thing. You just gotta be humble.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to close out real quick and just ask you like a couple questions on, you know, the future, not just with bodybuilding, but like where you see yourself going in the next couple of years. I know you're graduating this summer.
I graduated December.
You graduate in December.
Yeah.
Like where do you see yourself going in the next couple of years, and like, you know, what are some tips, maybe not just about bodybuilding but about life? I know we just did a pretty in-depth thing about knowledge, but anything else maybe you want to tell someone out there that might, you know, be trying to get their life together, because not trying to like be like egotistical, but me and you pretty much, we have our life, you know, in the right path we want to get to. Not all people are in that spot in their life and they want to, because I've been in the spot where I've been, you know, I've looked up to people and I've said I want to be there. You know, I want to know how to get there, and a lot of times it comes within, but you know, little small tips and just hearing it from other people can really help as well.
I mean, like you said, one thing, it's like, you know, I got a lot of people that come up to me or, you know, DM me, message me, whatever, and they're like, hey, you know, how do I get to be like you? You know, and my response is always, you don't want to be like me.
Yeah.
You want to be better.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's what it's going to motivate them as well.
Yeah.
It's like I could tell you what I'm doing right now, but at the same time, you don't have to be doing that. You could be doing something else, and it's going to be better than you.
Yeah.
You know, that's like right now. I graduated December, right, as a business management degree. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that degree yet. You know, to be honest, I do want to be a business analyst, but at the same time, I'm slowly learning that you don't really need college.
Yeah.
And you don't really need a degree to progress in life.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's like if you're going to go get it, you're going to go get it anywhere you go. That's the way my biggest advice to people is, you know, if you're trying to be out there and be successful, you can do it no matter what way. You don't need college to be successful. You know, like you posted today on Instagram. Success is subjective.
Yeah, that's true.
And it is true.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different form of seeing success.
Yeah.
You know, one person can see, you know, accomplishing college as a success.
Yeah.
One person can see as being a college dropout a success because you still went out and did something else.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we all have a different perspective on success. You know, and my biggest advice to people is you know, just find something that you like doing, stick to it, and be happy with it. Remain humble with it. You know, if it's bringing you money, good, great. If it's not, it is what it is. You know, go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And dude, just be yourself. You know, that's up.
Definitely. And I think you hit it good. You said something pretty good there too. It's like stick with it, stay with it. A lot of times people do things for like short periods of time and they expect results, or they get very excited, which is important. It's important to be excited about learning new things.
Yeah, it is.
But you need to give yourself time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, like my father. You know, my father was a successful guy before I was born.
Yeah.
And one thing he always told me was, success is not made overnight.
Yeah.
You know, it comes with patience, time. Don't rush into it, because anytime you get rushed in,
Yeah.
it never goes the right way.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
goes the wrong way. You know, and it sucks.
Yeah, the same thing with working out. So I tell people all the time, it's like they're like they want to jump on a diet, like extreme diet, and do cardio an hour a day for 2 weeks, and they want to get in shape. But I said, I promise you, it'll never work. Slow progression, especially when something's new,
Yeah.
is the best way. And it
is.
sucks, but like I promise you, it's the only way you'll stick to it. Unless you're like an anomaly, you're one out of every 30 people that maybe rush into something and stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, that goes back to a story that we all learned back in school. You know, in elementary school, the rabbit and the tortoise. You know, think about it. You
Yeah.
know, that's a great example already. You know, the tortoise won the race.
Yeah.
You know, slow and steady.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, the rabbit was so fast.
Yeah.
He lost the race
Yeah.
because he decided to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do. You know, the moment that they see they're rushing and everything, it's like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, this is good, this is good, this is
Yeah.
good. And
Quick,
yeah.
and all that.
And before you know it, you lose everything. You
Yeah.
know? And you know, it's slow and steady is the way.
So one tip I tell people before we close out, that before, like, if they're getting into something new, is to give it 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Give it 2 weeks. Don't do anything for 2 weeks. If you're like, oh my god, I want to start boxing, don't box. Give it 2 weeks. If you still want to box in 2 weeks, then you start. Because if you can't be patient and let something just sit for a little while, you'll never be able to let it like actually come to fruition. And you know, me and you, like we work out and stuff like that. It's taken a long time to get to the spot to where we're at, and we're still always trying to progress. So if you can't be patient for like 2 weeks or a week or whatever it is, if you have to jump into something right then, right there, typically if you're going full force, typically sometimes it's not going to always work out the way that you want it to work out. If that makes sense.
Exactly. And I also want to add another thing to that too, Matt. One thing is, life is always going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, the moment they see a setback, they see failure right away.
Yeah.
You know, instead of seeing that setback as something that you can progress forward.
Yeah.
You know, a setback could be anything, but the way I see a setback is a life lesson.
Exactly.
You know, and the way you gotta learn, the way from that life lesson is you gotta learn from it and progress forward. Okay, so one thing I want to add on to it, Matt, is you know, in life there are going to be setbacks. You know, so the way I see it is those setbacks are a lesson. You know, and some people may see it as failure when you're not supposed to look at it as a failure. You're supposed to look at it as a lesson and progress forward. You learn from it because that's what a lesson is. You know, you're learning, right? And then you progress forward.
Definitely. That was a great way to put it, and that was a great, you know, podcast. And I appreciate having you on, Carlos. It's been a pleasure to have you on. It's been a really good conversation. We're going to be training soon. We're getting cool ass content with him in the gym. Hopefully, you'll be progressing going into the new year. If you want to plug yourself up real quick, Carlos, before we close it out, go for it.
I'm good right now. I'll let it be right now. We'll close up some other time.
Yeah.
Maybe after a great workout.
Gotcha.
Or, you know, but yeah, Matt and I are gonna have some good content coming up. You know, I'll probably even take a trip with him to Gainesville. And just
For sure. I didn't mean pose up. I didn't plug your Instagram.
My bad. All right, guys. So you can follow me on Instagram at CLowsFit. So it's gonna be C and then _LowsFit. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good content, you know, with Matt and I.
Yeah, he's got daily stories that he just puts a lot of good stuff on his story every day. I don't really read people's stuff a lot of times. I really don't. But like ever since we started getting in contact more, especially since I've been getting into like investing and stuff, all the stuff you post about that, if it catches my eye, I'll read it.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. One thing about my Instagram, it's not just, you know, fitness and everything. Maybe my posts will be, but, you know, stories or fitness, life goals, anything, you know, because my goal in life is to motivate people.
Exactly. And that little bit, like you'll never, just that little post or that little thing sometimes might just be the thing that changes somebody's character for that day. And then that day will be a week, that week will be a year, and then now it's for the rest of their life they, you know, had a goal. It happens to me all the time.
You have no idea how many times that has happened to me. And it's like, it's amazing, you know, I may not have told the person or I may have, but you know what's funny, it's like, it sticks to you. It sticks to you.
And that energy comes back, you know, the people that put out good stuff, and whether that be, you know, a post or a workout or something positive or even just like a compliment, it doesn't have to be social media, it could be a text. You know, sometimes that'll change your day. You can have a shitty day and someone texts you saying, hey bro, saw a picture of you, of us, you know, good times or something. That could be like, oh, I'm out of my mood now. Now I just got my homework done in time. You know, I have this now, I have extra time, I did this. And so one thing leads to another, and, you know, good things lead to great things. So
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Positive vibes, positive.
Anyways, appreciate you guys for watching. Take care and peace.